Welcome to episode number 55 of the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show. Cousin Donnie obviously traveling tonight, so our fill-in is Mr. Marky Robinson himself.
How's everyone doing tonight?
Welcome to the Uncle Jimmy show, man. Sponsored by the Beacon Tap. How are you doing tonight?
Good. It's been a minute. It's been about a year since I've been on the show. Let's get it cracking, huh?
For sure, dude. I mean, one of the best things about you being on the show tonight, not only do I get to make fun of you, but at the same time, you were out there for the A Nationals this weekend, and I want to hear your insight because I know you're a huge, just A national individual that with a lot of prep and a lot of popularity out there at the field. So, someone handsome as you, welcome. We appreciate it.
It's good to be here. Yeah, it was a great weekend. Friday, they avoided rain, so that was good. And then Saturday and Sunday were beautiful out. It was really good softball and quite a few upsets along the way. And then we got to losers bracket Final Four of teams that people projected to be maybe in the winners bracket. So all in all, good weekend and ready to get the show started.
Yeah, you know, we have three guests tonight, I think, that are extremely interesting. We have our boy, Mr. Perfect himself, Angelo from the Fat Kids, which I think will be entertaining. I know he's still at the Forest Park Field right now after playing a game tonight. And then we have the two gentlemen from Julian and Alan from the 3038s who won the national tournament this weekend for Ain't No Glove. Obviously, they came through the losers bracket, as I predicted. Give some props to Uncle Jimmy on that one, right?
Yeah, you projected it, and you also did predict Fat Kids probably might finish fourth. And so you were 2 for 4 on your top 4 predictions, and you were spot on 38s coming through the losers bracket and Fat Kids coming in fourth. So pretty good there.
Absolutely. So, you know, as people continue to join the show, we obviously appreciate you guys following us, watching us. We appreciate you sharing our page. You know, our show, obviously, as I mentioned, is sponsored by the Beacon Tap, so please get out to the Splains. Visit Mr. Tommy Reiner himself. He does a lot for us in softball, and not only that, but also sponsors, the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show, which we all love. So, incredible. Mark, before we even get started tonight about the weekend, you know, I always have something up my sleeve, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to go ahead and I want to get your opinion on this really quick. I was going through the videos.
Oh, no, not handled.
Runner. We're going to play it a couple times. I want to get your opinion on this because
Run does score.
This is something that I think Marky's up. He's running to first. What is that over there, Mark? What'd you do? Blow a hammy?
Earlier in the game, I did do something to my quad earlier in that game, and then when I hit first, I was just dead. That was fourth game. I was like, "Oh man, dude, I hope something happens here to where we could score this run." It's the 8th inning, and then I hit first, and I hear safe, and I just collapsed and fell down and just laid there. I was like, I hope we have a guy on the bench ready to run because I was like, I can't move anymore.
I did not want to share the swing because the swing was worse than the run.
Yeah, it was.
But that being said, look at your ballerina dance at the end. I think you did like a 560 there?
Yeah, and then I just lay completely flat like I was just shot or something. I was gassed. It was a long day. We were out there at 10 in the morning and then played. That was game 4, and we played 3 straight, and this was a crazy game with Sauce. Back and forth, 8 innings. And I was gassed. I hit the base, and I'm like, all right, he called me safe. I can relax for a second. And then I was like, wait, I get up kind of quick, and I'm like, I might have to run. I was like, I can't move. And then thank God they did not hit the ball at me in the bottom of the 8th, or else it would have been a hit. I wasn't bending over. I wasn't moving. So thank God, because
Hey,
it was a crazy game, though.
not many things slip past me. You know I was going to have that ready for you on this show.
Oh, yeah. I figured. I was like, after Donnie fell running to second, I was like, when you told me I was going to be co-hosting with you, I was like, well, they did bonus coverage. He's probably going to find it. And it wasn't long bonus coverage. And I was like, he's going to have it there for me. So there it is. Got it out of the way.
I knew there was a reason why you shared it on your personal page. So
yeah, I technically I had the game-winning hit since there's no errors in softball, you know?
Yeah, I actually didn't even go past that moment. I stopped. But really quick, let's welcome some of the fans. Obviously, we have Jasmine, Mickey, Richard, Zach, Amelia. Obviously, guys, all appreciate you joining the show. Fire some comments on there tonight. We have some incredible guests joining us, as we all mentioned. We're going to start off first with Mr. Perfect Game himself, Angelo. He is live currently right now from Forest Park. Mark, really quick before we bring Angelo on, what did you see this weekend out of the Fat Kids and some of the things that, you might want to bring up to Angelo?
Yeah, so Fat Kids start off the tournament, guns blazing. I mean, they were obliterating teams. I think the first 3 games, they outscored their opponents 41-6. I mean, they were just scoring 15 runs a pop. And then the last 3 or so games they played, it all turned into 1-run games, close games. So it'd be interesting to hear Angelo obviously talk about his perfect game and kind of those couple of those 1-run games. They lost 2 of them, obviously. So kind of hearing there's probably a 1 or 2 plays, 1 or 2 at bats to where it's a different run. Who knows? They might be top 3. Who knows? They could have won it all. I mean, I know they played the 38s in the losers bracket 4th place game, and I know that was a 9-8 game, I believe. So I mean, obviously there's a 1 hit or 1 play there. They could make champs, and 38s could be the 4th place team. So it'll be interesting to hear from him for sure.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking forward to, because I want to hear what was the 1 play that maybe he thought wasn't going to be made. And the one thing that, was like kind of stuck out to him a little bit was like, God damn, I'm going to blow this perfect game or whatever. So it's always interesting to hear those stories. So really quick before we bring Angela on, I just had a comment come through. We had a fan out there asking about how your grandpa is. So why don't you share if you want to discuss that, why don't we share with Wags himself about your grandpa?
Yeah, my grandpa's doing great. Currently, most of my family's in Kentucky for the holidays. Grandpa, mom, dad, everyone's there. I know a lot of people were excited at the A No Glove to see my dad.
Yep.
Unfortunately, it's too hot. My grandfather does not like heat, and he's not a part of the team, so he was not coming to watch. But he's doing well, and I appreciate you asking. And I'm sure a lot of people, older guys, especially old Flash guys, are always wondering. They're always asking me how he's doing. He's doing well, and he always appreciates you guys asking about him for sure.
So we had a comment come in right now. I just put on the screen for Mickey Balestri. He said it was great to see your dad back on the softball field with you guys. Played on Crush for many a years. So obviously your dad was out there this weekend, I'm assuming, with you guys coaching.
Yeah.
Was he playing?
No, he's just coaching now. My mom always tells him he could be a pitch hitter at times for us, but I think his day's passed. Maybe if he goes and plays 50 and over or something, he's got a chance. But yeah, he hasn't swung a bat in a few years. He don't got a chance anymore.
So he probably could run the first a little better than yourself, though, I bet.
Yeah, probably. I mean, kind of crazy with that big beer belly of his. He played left field for a lot of years. I did not get that gene.
and honestly, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with the field.
No.
So we don't want to talk about my episodes I had in the outfield last week. So, but either way, let me get to Angelo. Angelo's out in the green room. Hopefully he's not drunk. Let's get to Angelo here. Hopefully he's sitting down where he's not moving the camera everywhere, huh? Let's just see. And there he is.
There he is.
Mr. Perfect Game himself. How are you, sir?
All right, how you guys doing?
Good. Welcome to the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show. My co-host tonight, obviously filling in for Cousin Donnie, is Mr. Marky Robinson himself. We call him Mr. Miller Lite here on the South Side. He is not drinking a Miller Lite right now, though, which is I'm
No?
kind of upset. But Angelo, why don't you tell the fans, tell the people who you are? We had your brother on, I believe, last week or the week before. He was talking a lot about you. Kind of a lot of good, obviously, a lot of fun. Ripped on you a couple times, but
Yeah.
in all reality, I want to hear a little bit about who you are, and why don't we share where you started, how you got into softball, who got you in. Give us the background about Angelo.
Um, Probably started softball. Well, I started at the Park District at 12, 14. On the A level, I started playing with the Lemons, Brands Park with Ponch. Um, Started off as a terrible short center, couldn't field my position. Um, from there, we played in Harrison Park, Hamlin Park, went to Pioneer a couple falls. Um, Played in a lot of qualifiers young. That was where I got my first taste of what big softball was. After my, I would say 6, 7 year run with the Lemons, I played a year with Lou Rossi in the row.
Okay.
And then from there, I got a call from Beto about putting a team together. I brought my brother along, and that turned out to be the Impact team. And then
Right.
had a 10, 12 year run with Impact. After that kind of ran its course, me, Bruce, Rob, my brother, all talked about getting, the guys from the neighborhood together. And that's kind of how we started the Fat Kids. And that's where we're at today.
Nice. So, where does the Fat Kids name? Where does that come from? How was that, brought apart? Was there a joke behind that? Was that just something because Fat Jason's on the team?
Well,
Is
this
that
this was this was all before him.
okay?
So I would love to say that's from having a bunch of fat guys on the team, but that wasn't the case.
Right.
Um, Somebody played in a tournament and out in like Arizona, California, and there was a team called Fat Kids,
Sure.
and we brought it back to the parks and got in like a park tournament, and someone said, "Oh, well, let's call ourselves the Fat Kids." Lemons kind of ran their course, didn't have the greatest track record winning tournaments or playing well, so it's time for a change. So Ponch said, "You know what? We're gonna be the Fat Kids," and that's how it all started.
Hey, there's always it's always kind of funny how things come around. I
Yeah.
remember like Clem Greco and those guys when they started the Rats and some of the stories behind that. So it's always an interesting story on a name, and it's always good to hear something. So Marky, do you got before we get into the perfect game questions, you got anything else for Angelo?
Yeah, I guess I got two things. First is who designed the logo, because I do think you guys have one of the cooler logos in softball. So how did that come about along with your name? And then I have something else for you.
So our logo was Ponch basically came up with the scheme of the logo, the character. Everybody looks at it and I always hear two names. One, Peter Griffin, and the other one, oh, you got a picture of Zoe on your uniform. It's neither.
Hey, shout out to Splash blowing that lead today against Goodwood.
Um, it's actually the Cleveland Brown, our character. Um, we put it together going to Yuma, and I was like, oh, we're coming from Chicago. Let's throw a flag on his face. That's when all the jerseys and T-shirts were coming with the bandana on the face that down by Wrigley and Bull Stadium. So that's basically how that logo right there came out.
Nice. So
Awesome.
we just had a comment from Jeff. He said someone at the Bud Lauren Cali tournament had a shirt on. It was definitely a Cali team. So I
Yeah,
guess you hit that one
yeah,
right on the head.
yeah. It definitely
And
came
then the
from something.
second thing I got for you is did you know a little fun fact, because we're obviously going to start talking about your perfect game here shortly, that the last one by Bobby Ronald, the no-hitter for when the Gamblers beat Wallace, was July 28, of 2016. So it's been some time since we've had a pitcher do something like this in a tournament. So I'll let Uncle Jimmy lead us into the next part, talking about this perfect game.
Yeah, Angelo, and that leads me into my next question. It's almost 8 years to the day. Obviously, yours was better than Bobby's, right? Because you had a perfect game. No
I
disrespect to Bobby,
they
but
they both have their good points. His was major no gloves.
yeah,
Mine was 8 no gloves. So
right. But
gotta
either
give, gotta
way,
give him the respect there.
tell us. I like busting Bobby's balls, and I will be playing with him next weekend in Papa Hops. But tell us a little bit about the game because we all know the first couple innings you get, obviously 3 up, 3 down, and then you guys are kind of from what I saw, the score, it was probably 10+ runs after. So give us background on the game and how that went, and like what was the play that was like, oh my God, we made that play, or was there any close calls? Uh, give us the
I
rundown.
mean, so all truth to the story, I didn't even know it was a perfect game or a no hitter till the game was over. I
Really?
when I pitch, I kind of really don't think about the score. I knew we were up big, so I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna trying to throw my pitches, have guys hit my pitches. Um, we played the Snappers. Snappers, I mean, I gotta give them respect. They're a solid team. I mean, they beat us 2 weeks ago in Melrose, so I had going into the game had a little chip. I just wanted to win the game. Um, just basically just throwing my pitches, trying to find my my little groove or whatnot you want to call it. I didn't know what was going on. I wasn't hitting good. I was getting upset about my hitting, arguing with Manny because he wasn't calling strikes. I wanted strikes, not no, not knowing what was going on with the game. Um, as the game goes on, I'm like, why is my team like arguing about what the score is, what inning? I'm like, just play the game. Let's finish the game. Let's
Yeah.
whatnot. Um, if I had to pick a play that probably stuck out that now after the fact was, I want to say it was the last play of the game. I think it was a hard ball hit between second base and short center. Uh, your buddy Fat Jason stuck his hand out, bobbled the ball, kind of almost messed the whole thing up. But he got the he got the ball together, threw the guy out at first, and then jumped up screaming. And again, at the time, I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, relax. It's the second game of a tournament. We got a
Yeah.
long tournament. Like, but then once we got to the dugout, everybody's like, no hitter, no hitter. Then someone said perfect game. I'm like, stop it. I was like, there was a guy on in the first inning. Stop. Whatever. Then I seen the score sheet and I was like, okay. I
So
you know,
I just put a comment up there from Luke. He said your knuckleball was dirty. You want to talk a little bit about how the knuckle was working that day?
so man, I'll give that credit to the knuckleball to that Bud Lorden tournament out in California.
Yep.
Played out there one day. Guy showed me how to throw it. I love throwing the knuckleball with the windy games.
Yeah.
It just dances, and um, I just like to I look at how you're standing as a hitter, and I try to you know place where I want to step off and where I kind of hope the ball moves.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, it's a defensive game. I, I gotta give more credit to my team behind me than me actually just throwing the ball underhand to some guys ready to hit. But yeah,
Yeah. No, I think the one cool thing about having a perfect game, you did it in an A National, which, hey, I mean, you mentioned big tournament. A National is a pretty big tournament.
oh yeah,
And to do it that way, not even knowing about it, that makes it more impressive to me because I think it's something it's something that's going to go down, obviously, in history, but for the rest of your life, you're going to know, hey, man, I threw a perfect game. I don't know. I just think it's pretty damn cool to hear about and see. What do you
yeah.
think?
Yeah,
Too bad your boy Gio didn't stay there and do the whole game, and I can have the whole game.
yeah. I mean, it doesn't happen often.
I
I
don't know
mean,
who Gio is.
like we said, Bobby Ronald was the last one that we know of in a big tournament, and that was about almost 8 years ago. So, on it, even if it's an A tournament, I mean, it's still really impressive, and it's against a team that you said just beat you a couple of weeks prior.
Yeah,
So, I mean, it's not like you did it against some team that no one knows about. Snapper's been around a long time. and then
Yeah.
like you said, they just beat you. So like,
Yeah,
it's kind of
it was a
crazy.
high scoring game that they beat us in too. It was like a 9-11 game type thing. So
Yeah.
like
So
they hit.
yeah, 2 weeks later, you're throwing a perfect game against them. It's definitely impressive, and definitely where some of the stakes are the highest for A teams. So congrats again for sure.
Thanks.
So you mentioned that game, but the rest of the weekend, you guys finished fourth in the tournament. So you guys actually made a run through that tournament. What were the two games you lost, or what were the tough games that you guys battled through that weekend? And not only that, but I unfortunately I wasn't out there this weekend. It was kind of like family weekend for me.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't be out there, but tell me a little bit about the weekend, how the tournament was run. Give me your feedback on that. I always love to hear about what players are thinking, and obviously one of my last questions for you here shortly is going to be what would it be differently. So,
Yeah.
give me something that you saw.
Um, from a run standpoint, I thought the tournament was run really well. Um, from just being a pitcher, I wish again umpires are a little bit more consistent
Yep.
on what 12 feet is, what 6 feet is.
Yep.
Um, but it was a pretty good run team. I truly feel that team it was a very even field. Granted, you had a couple teams that might have been a little bit more favorite than others, but as this shows, anybody can beat anybody in softball.
Right.
Uh, we started the tournament off with 40 deuce. Um, like Marky said, we got hot. We scored 15 runs. Then the snapper game, we scored another 14 runs. Then Saturday we opened up with Sauce.
Okay.
Um, Sauce is another good team. They beat us in Forest Park pretty good. Um, we came out, we were just hitting. Everybody was hitting their ball, looking for two out the box. Got past them. We had a little 5-hour break, which is a killer for fat kids softball. Um, we came back. We played Diesel. I don't know much about them. I believe it's the Pat Moran's team out of Itasca.
Yeah.
Good, good bunch of young kids. Uh, I feel, just coming from a perspective of like what we could have done, I think we shot ourselves in our foot a little bit more than they beat us.
Right.
But they hit. I can't take nothing away. We lost 9-8, I think, to that one or something like that. And then Sunday we came back. We opened up with Goodwood. Again, started hitting pretty well. Um, Won that game, and then we faced 30-38 right after. Uh, Again, great defensive team by them. They made all their plays. Like
Right.
um, their left fielder has a cannon, and it's fast as can be. Uh, Couple base running errors, a lot of double plays by us. Kind of really took the swagger out of our game, and we went down. I think that was 7-8 game right there, and then they turned around and went and double dipped for the championship.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it seems like you guys had a good weekend. Definitely a couple tough losses, win losses.
Yeah.
Mark, I know you had a stat that you want to share with Angelo about the fat kids. So why don't you go ahead and share that right now?
Yeah. The Fat Kids, they outscored their opponents 41-6 in their first three, and then all the games were one-run games after. And like Angelo said, he kind of just touched point on it with the 38's game. He said that the Fat Kids had a bunch of double plays, and they made all their plays. And knowing from experience, because we played the 38's the game before, they were rolling. It was kind of the same situation when we played them. I mean, they hit the crap out of the ball on Sunday, and they were not making errors. They have really good defensive team, and when that team's hitting, they're a tough team to beat. I know stings for probably Angelo and them because I think theirs was a one-run game. We got 10 run by them, so definitely a little different situation. But I mean, the Fat Kids made an incredible run, and it was a great tournament by you guys, and you guys just seem to be right at the door knocking it down. Yeah, I feel like you guys are gonna break through here sooner or later because I mean you guys are constantly making these long runs in A tournaments. I feel like the last 2 years, every A tournament, you guys are top four, something like that, at A glove, A no glove. So I feel like your chance of winning it's coming. I feel like I mean you guys been playing real well lately for sure.
Yeah, I mean we have to learn. Like I said, these guys are a bunch of young kids. Um, most of the players, other than me, my brother, and I would say Bruce when he comes back, only players that have any real major experience. These are all
Right,
young kids. Some of them just out the park.
right,
You know, my shortstop Tommy, we picked him up. He was playing player sports pro softball. He's on fire right now. Um, you know, my outfield, a bunch of young kids, just kind of figuring the game out. You know, trying to see what it is with a tournament to make long runs in tournaments. Um, You know, we all were young. We know how we make those mistakes in those long breaks. Miller Lights are going down pretty smooth, and next thing you know, you got to play. It's a little hard. I think I think we're knocking on that door. I think once these kids realize their potential, the sky's going to be the limit for this team.
absolutely. You know, one of the things I know that you guys already had some upset wins over some major teams in some of the big tournaments. I know you guys beat Signature in the Westchester tournament. I like bringing that up because Donnie's obviously on Signature. I don't know if Donnie's going to be joining us tonight, but
You mean walk them off?
yeah, walk them off. Right,
Walk them
even
off.
better. Walked them off. Probably Donnie on the hill too. That makes it even better.
He was. He
But
was.
but all reality that kind of leads to my question, and this is the question that I ask every guest on the show. As a walk off, as you just mentioned, this is my walk off and my last question before we hand it over to you, Angela, for any questions for us. But the question is that if there's a thing in softball right now that you would like to change, or anything that you would like to bring to the game that's new to make the game better, what would it be?
I mean, I feel like the biggest problem in softball now is I think every guest you had on says just commitment. My team is a big uh, reason we're not making that jump is commitment. Going to tournaments with 10 guys. I think if there's some way to make it attractive a little more. Nationals always in Illinois. You know it's not fun no more. I remember when I first started going out to Iowa with Lemons,
Yeah,
staying at Motel 6 with my teammates, drinking in the parking lot. You built that camaraderie, that team, and guys stuck together a lot longer. Now it's
yeah,
like guys are changing teams like they change underwear.
right,
you know, um, and it's like I want to see that I want to beat the best rather than go join the best mentality
yep,
from these young kids because they got the
yep,
talent. I mean, they're there. Um, that would be the only thing I would try to bring to the game is trying to find a way to make make it attractive, for players that want to actually commit.
right.
Um,
So
you know,
since you bring up commitment, there's ways to make more commitment in the game. There's ideas that people bring up. Everyone always gives me shit about the Saturdays thing that I think would be huge. Is there anything that comes to your mind that would make commitment better in softball today?
I think your 1 day tournaments kind of make it easier for guys to plan to be off of work or plan to keep the wife happy. Being able to go out Sunday. You
Yep,
know, I think that does. I do think some tournaments should stay three,
four.
4 day tournaments.
Yeah,
But I think more tournaments were single game eliminator tournaments. Where guys can come in, play, get that itch of competitive softball.
right.
I think that really will help grow the game.
I mean,
Um,
yeah, no, you're making me think. You know what I mean? And the thing I think best when you think about A teams, right? And you think about B teams, and you think about major. there's not many B or A teams that are going to beat a major team twice in a given weekend,
Yeah.
but they can beat them once.
Yeah.
And to my opinion, and to your point, I think that's what will make this game kind of more attractive and bring more teams to the table. Now, when we have the Iowa teams and we have some of those other teams come in for the weekend, yeah, I mean, there's ways we can make sure that they're playing 2 games, double elimination, all that type of stuff. That's not a problem. The North South tournament to me, and I know Danny Atkins does a good job running the tournament. Obviously, he had it at the same complex that you had, but
Come
I
back to
just,
Genera.
yeah, I just think that you're right. I mean, Gennaro was awesome too, right? And that's where it started. But having a single elimination, I mean, why not, right? I
Yeah.
mean, why not make it single elimination north south? I think it'd be pretty cool. Try something different. It's the same shit all the time. 4-day tournaments, 4-day tournaments, four
Yeah.
day tournaments. And I'm just picking Danny's tournament out of the blue. Nothing against the north south. I'm just saying in general, like I know Westchester, people look at Westchester as kind of the second best tournament in major softball now, next to No Glove Nationals. And then, of course, I think this year Nationals is going to be a huge hype with just some new blood coming to the table with Rosmondo coming. I think it's going to be awesome. The environment, I think more teams are going to be out there wanting to play just to kind of see what they can do, and
Yeah.
I think it's cool. But what I'm getting at is that do you think more A teams would play the major game and even B teams if they were able to use a glove against a major team, play a major tournament?
I don't know if a glove makes a difference. I think with that, it's more of a confidence thing.
Right.
Um, the bad part about some of the A teams and B teams is they don't have any veteran leadership. No guys that went up and played. Um, you look at some of these top major teams. Those veterans that don't play no more still stay there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
branch out. Grab a young A team. Try to give them the knowledge that they have. You know, from playing major and bringing them kids up. I think that kind of helps. You know, grow the game.
Yep.
Um, you know, there was a tournament back a little while ago. SSA did that flip a coin
Yeah, yeah. The glove.
where Homer you get to choose glove. That was a pretty cool one. So you could do 1 day tournament, something like that.
Yep.
Um, I don't know if gloves really make a difference with some of the A and B teams because they never used them to begin with,
Right. Yeah.
so they don't
Makes
really know. I have
so.
guys on my team that are never using. They're coming out with 11 and a quarter gloves playing outfield.
Right. Right.
You know,
So we had a couple comments come through as we're talking about this before we let you go. Rulio Olivia says that plus how many tourneys are teams playing? The tournament is almost every weekend. J. Rob says Westchester and Melrose only have 2 fields. Perfect reason to go single elimination at those fields. So, he's right. I think it's a good point, like to go single elimination. Steve Burke mentioned commitment and loyalty. The guy jumped to the next squad and play with a bunch of strangers. To your point earlier about guys jumping all over the parks. And then Joey mentioned, we only play at parks with more than just 2 fields. I get what he's saying, but to me, Westchester and Melrose are very nice parks. There's no reason why you can't do it differently. And I know the B National, Francisco is going to end that tournament on Saturday night. Um, so I think it's a cool thing. But enough about that. Angelo, do you have any questions before we let you go?
I don't have any questions. I just want to tell you guys you're doing a great job. Marky, you look good in the picture right there.
Thank you.
I feel like what you're doing is helping growing the game, giving something for us to look forward to hear what's going on, a place where we can give our opinion and it can be heard. You
Right.
know, so I just want to tell you guys you're doing a great job with that.
Hey man, I definitely appreciate it. And just give me one bad comment and a joking matter about your brother since he ripped you last weekend.
Um, the only thing I need to tell him is he needs to watch his mouth. One too many f bombs on the show.
I hear you. I hear you.
Mom wasn't too happy.
That's awesome, man. That's a great way to leave. Angelo, congrats again on your perfect game. I definitely appreciate you taking time. I know you had a game tonight, so thank you so much for joining us, and I'm sure you'll be on again, my man. Thank you.
Thanks, Angelo.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Appreciate it. So we got to hear the perfect game story, Marky. Are you pumped or what?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I've played with Angelo in a bunch of different tournaments. I love playing for him. I know he aggravates people when he's on the mound, so I definitely could see, especially a team like Snapper starting to press maybe a little bit when it's fourth inning, down 15-0, haven't got a guy on base. So definitely good story. Nice guy. I mean, they got a nice team over there with Fat Kids, so it was definitely entertaining stuff there.
You know, the other thing I think that is well, that kind of Angelo leads us right into, right? We lead right into the champs. You know, he had mentioned they had a great weekend. We talk about a team 30-38s that I picked to go through the losers bracket to win this tournament, right? Yeah. So, you know, to me, we have two individuals right now in our green room. I think both have incredible personalities, just like Angelo. Both were definitely going to rip a new asshole, just because I have a lot of interesting stuff. More for Julian than Alan, because I actually like Alan. Julian, on the other hand, you know what I mean? We're going to have to give him shit. So
I mean, that's all you. Julian's my guy. You could rip into him, but I'm not.
Yeah, we're going to give Julian some shit tonight. That's for sure.
Oh, for sure.
But that's okay. You know what? They deserve it. They had a hell of a weekend. I know you had mentioned, you know, they ran through the losers bracket, hit the shit out of the ball on Sunday. I heard about a couple games in the bankroll game where they could have walked them and they didn't, and he got the hit to tie it and all this other good stuff that you were telling me. So a lot of cool stuff, but let's get those questions out, because I have a lot of questions for my guy Julian and a lot of questions for Alan as well. How about you?
Right.
Are you ready, these guys?
I'm ready for them. I'm hoping they both have a beer in their hand.
Yeah. So let's get them on the show here. I think they're both together, which makes it real easy.
Oh, there's the beer.
I got to move in. Can you see us?
Yeah,
a little closer,
guys,
boys.
get close.
Oh my God, we gotta get real close.
Get that table out of the way.
Nice little setup going in here.
Yeah.
Wow, we
Where
gotta
you
get real
guys
close,
at?
huh?
Look at that.
That's
There
fine,
you go.
Here is fine.
Where are you guys at now? You guys at the Beacon Tap or what? Where are you at?
We just left Beacon Tap. We just left Beacon Tap. We had some pizza, half price pizzas today. Shout out Beacon Tap, Tommy Reamer, one of the best sponsors in all softball.
100%. And not only that, but he is the best sponsor for the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show. Not only because he's handsome like us, but he's just a great dude, and you gotta love him. So Julian, I gotta come right at you, my man. Calling out my Southside boys. And before we even get into the tournament this weekend, I gotta bring up about Papa Hops, my man. It sucks when you join the big boys and you're a major player now, huh? You gotta get singled out, doesn't it? You know I was gonna bust your balls about this. So tell me a little bit about Julian. Well, what team were you gonna play on, by the way? I just wanted to know.
I was gonna play on Ignition.
Okay. Good. They're in
You know,
my bracket. That's a good sign. They're in my bracket. That's good.
Chippy, Jackson. I don't know all the other guys yet. I'm gonna group chat. They seem like good dudes. First off, thanks for having us, guys. Just want to make sure I say that before we forget.
Cheers.
Yeah, we got some drinks, Mark.
I'm drinking Mark's Miller Lite.
I gotta sell something like that, but yeah, you know, Papa Hops. Guess I won't play in it this year.
No. Hey, you could come cheer me on though. Come cheer your uncle on this weekend. If
I'm
you
still
want.
gonna be there. I'm gonna drink. You know,
Yeah.
hope nobody else is breaking rules because I'm calling anybody out that's doing anything. So be prepared for everybody watching. That's gonna go back and watch. I'm gonna have some fun with it. I'm just happy I get to go out there though because I haven't even been. I hear
It's all for a good cause, man. I just want to give you shit because welcome to the major world, man. It sucks. Now you got to find a team that only has 2 less major players.
Who said we're major? I didn't get that declaration from anybody else. Did anyone else get that? I didn't get that from anybody.
I don't make the rules. I saw Julian's post. That's how I know about it.
Oh, okay.
I also want to say that I wasn't calling out the Papa House people, just number one.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I don't know who was calling in and calling me major, but we'll leave it at that.
But Moji said, "Wait till you're 45, that you could play."
That'll be when I play, Moj. That'll be when I finally get in.
I like that you can't play for them because that's our second round opponent if we win.
Yeah.
I'll be there. I'll be on the bench. Hopefully, I'll be half as drunk as you might be in a regular day.
Hey, Julian, it's Tuesday. It's his day off.
Yeah,
He works 6-day weeks. You know what I mean?
I took the
So
whole week off after this weekend. My God, too many games.
I hear you. So Alan, I'm going to start with you about the weekend.
Sure.
Cy Young, obviously coming from a pitcher. I love to hear those things. Tell me about the weekend, my man, and tell me about, how it went, the ups and downs, the goods and the bads. And then, give us a little background about who you are, because I think a lot of people in the game, probably don't know who you are as a person. So I'd like to, here's your time to shine, man. Give us some feedback about who you are.
Sure, thanks, Shamir. So, North Side, born and raised. I went to Gordon Tech with Julian, a year behind. And you're older than me. And I'm older. How that works. And so that's my background, where I come from. 38s come from the North Side as well. And we played at Hamlin Park. That's our home field, our home turf, and we've been there for almost 7 years now. And so 38s are comprised of a lot of different guys that I've known my whole life, from grade school, high school, and college. And so it's a tight knit group. We're close. And so, yeah, the background of our team is really the families that we know and who we've created over time. And we all know our families real tight and have for a long, long time. And so that's the foundation of who we are and why I think we're pretty unique to a lot of different teams in softball. We don't play, and genuinely don't play in a lot of tournaments, because we want our families to come out to tournaments, and I can't ask my family to come out 3 tournaments a month. And so we pick the ones that we want to do, and I think that we'll talk maybe later about what we'll do next year a little bit. But we want to definitely bring our family and friends out. I'm a new dad. There's several new dads on the team that's important to us, that we can have a family out. And so that's where our foundation of our team lies. And so I guess that's really who the 38s are, and kind of a little bit who I am in the back. This weekend, though, was terrific. It was a true testament to the team, right? The team as a whole, and like everyone stepped up when someone wasn't there or someone was down. Someone stepped in and played as hard as they can. And whether it was a pinch hit, a pinch run, playing the outfield when you play infield, whatever it might be, we stepped up when we needed to. And there's no, Julian was MVP, don't get me wrong, superstar, but it took a lot of guys to help Julian get to where he was and allow him to play freely at shortstop, right? No pressure, playing free, playing fun. And that's the goal of the 38s, is go out there and have fun. And we stepped up from Friday. Saturday was tough, right? Saturday we did not show up on Saturday. And so we put ourselves in the hole on Sunday, and we showed up Sunday with a good attitude. And, shout out to Julian. He really drove our guys and really put this tournament together and helped us pull together a full tournament, something that we have not done as a team since probably B Nationals in 2020, right? We just not pulled together a 3-day team that has been competitive and has been a lot of fun to watch. And I think this was the first weekend in a couple of years that we were able to pull something together that everyone stepped up and really performed.
Beautiful. 2 things that really stuck out to me before I hand it over to Marky. I know Marky's been writing questions all week for you guys, so I just want to make sure we get to them.
This should be good.
Yeah. So Alan, we have to go back and edit that tape, because you mentioned, you only play in a couple tournaments because of family. I'm going to make sure my wife ain't listening, because I play softball all over the place, and I don't want her to hear that. But no, to your point, yes, family's number one, always number one. I love my kids, love my wife, but yes, to your point, I think it's an incredible thing that you guys all stick together. I think that, a lot of guests we've had on this show, you're not jumping to new teams. I know Julian's name was tossed around. He was going to go play with 5 or 6 different teams this offseason. He was like the LeBron James of softball. But he stuck it out. He stuck with you guys, and obviously good things happen. Now you guys are 8 national champs, so congrats to both of you guys. It's an awesome thing.
Sure.
Really quick, Mark, before I get on to Julian's ass, why don't you give one of your 7 questions that you have for these guys?
Yeah, so I guess one of my questions is, I know we play you guys a lot, so we're kind of familiar with each other. And I believe his name is Justin. He usually plays third for you guys, and I believe on Sunday when we played you guys, he was out in center. So I was wondering, Were you guys missing people? Were guys injured? A little bit of both? Because, I mean, seemed like you guys had some guys in different spots than we normally see you guys at Forest Park because we see you guys all the time. So I was just curious about that.
You got it. You did such a great job on Gio's show early on that.
Yeah. Justin,
Whose show?
Gio,
Oh,
your boy Gio.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
So, Mark, to answer your question, yeah, we had our guys out there, but there was a few guys at the least battling injuries, so we had to kind of shift some guys around. Justin, again, I said it on Gio's show. Justin was in my opinion, the MVP. He hit his ass off. And the biggest part, to more to your question, is Justin plays the infield. He played the outfield when he was younger. Not that he's old, but we were missing guys like that they just couldn't run. They could hit a little bit, but couldn't really run. Couldn't play the outfield. Ryan was our guy who was catching.
Nothing wrong with being old, Julian. All right. Just throw it out.
You're telling me. I don't know yet, Jim. But Justin, basically, again, we started having a conversation Saturday on what we're going to do because we were missing guys on Saturday and the guys are hurt. Justin, there's a backdrop story with the team when he wanted to play the outfield another time. He wouldn't. Sorry, Jay. But long story short, he basically said, I'll go out there. Long story short. So, again, to answer your question, we had some guys hurt. Justin went out to center, which really, again, like I said on the other show, I mean, it lengthened the lineup. It kept guys in positions they're a little more comfortable in, aside from Jay. But, again, he's a natural outfitter and athlete. But it put us in a good spot. I mean, if we didn't have him to go out there, we still have good guys on the bench. Don't get me wrong. Like, Kels could have did it. But, Jay's our two hitter. He's our best hitter. So the fact that he's willing to go out there, it made a huge difference.
Yeah, I mean, he's usually at third when we play him, and I swear every time we hit a line drive, any hard ball, he always makes it. So it was just weird to see him out there in center. It's like, all right, what's going on with
him? To see him sometimes. Like, what the heck? It's off, so.
So Justin made a comment. He says, I'm 29. Jesus Christ, Drew.
Justin
is right there.
Uncle Jimmy, they got this guy on their team. I think his name is Dante, who plays short center. And I was talking to Alan because we actually played Alan on Tuesday before No Gloves started. And this Dante makes a catch, line drive, and then just throws it left-handed, bad switch hitter. And I'm asking Alan all these questions. I guess the kid had Tommy John, right? Alan, if you want to touch it.
Dante Davis is one of the most unique guys I think has ever played the game.
Not even just players, just guys.
Yeah, he's awesome. We love Dante. I've known Dante since he's like 5 or 6 years old. Bell School. The kid, man, he was like one of the best athletes growing up I've ever seen. And those coaches growing up, they took advantage of him. He played shortstop. He pitched shortstop pitch as like a 9-10-year-old. He had Tommy John surgery very early in his life, so he learned to throw lefty. So this kid playing softball is hilarious because you have no idea what hand it's coming out of at any point at any game. And it's from short center. He's whipping the ball down from lefty just because he knows that it's a quicker. But from him, it's just instinct. For us, we laugh. The kid's a lefty.
So you guys had a left fielder that was absolutely hitting bombs last year and in the playing game.
Vitale.
Anthony Vitale, yeah.
Is he still on the squad? I mean, and I haven't seen you guys play this year, but
I'd like to say yeah. I mean, I hope Vitale can see this. And he's a young kid. I think he's 21, 22. He's working now. He's in a union, so which is great. He's doing something as a young kid. But he doesn't have the time. He works weekends, so he can't really make tournaments. So we try to get him out there if we can. It's up to him, really. We want him to play. You guys see him. I mean, the guy hits the ball like it's crazy how he hits the ball. I mean, it's unreal. It really is. It's very unique.
Yes.
If he has time, he'll make it. But he's a young kid. He's grinding in life, so you can't knock him for that. But he's on the team whenever he wants to be. So yes.
So we have a question that just came in about another player on the team. I'm going to put the question on the screen. It's from our boy Ross DeLude. He said, "Can we ask if the wife beater first baseman was wearing a uniform for them, or is he just his thing?" So you want to answer that question?
Yeah. Do you guys not know Wick? I mean, Jimmy, I know you're a Southsider. His name's Eric Wick. Wick has been playing softball for a long time. We were learning about him yesterday or Sunday. He played with Road Runners back in the day. Like, Wick's been around.
Yeah, I
He's
know
always
Wick.
a big dude.
I didn't know who your first baseman was, but I 100% know.
It was Wick. Yeah, Wick. So yeah, to answer the question, that is his thing.
Yeah.
Always wears a white beater. I mean, Jimmy, if you've seen him, you know. I mean, that's his thing.
Oh yeah.
Which I
Yeah,
love.
no, that's been his thing for 20 years. I mean, for as long as I've known him, that's his thing. So
I know we gave him a shirt on Friday, and he put it on, and I told him as soon as I gave him the shirt, I was like, "You don't have to wear it. I know you trademark. Like, do your thing." But he threw it on to show some love. But I think after the first inning, he was already like, "I gotta take this thing off." You know.
Come Saturday, he brought it, and it was very kind to him. He put it on his shoulder, but he used it as a comfort for the strap for the beers in his cooler, as opposed to the shirt he was wearing. So I shout out to Wick for at least using it that way.
He's like the nicest dude too. He really is.
yeah, I know. He you're 100% right. He is a really good dude, and I've had to meet him a couple times. So, Alan, my next question is for you. You only gave up, if I'm correct, 1 run in the championship game in 2 games. So obviously you were wheeling and dealing there. Was it just one of those things where we all know as pitchers you kind of get in that groove and you feel you're throwing the ball and they're just not hitting it, or was your defense making incredible plays, or was it a little bit of both?
Defense more than anything. I mean, as any pitcher would know, the ball is big and round, and the ball comes in slow, right?
Yeah.
Defense carries pitchers more than anything. Second to that, I thought I fielded my position much better those games than I had in previous games. So it's that as well. So I would say defense, me fielding my position, but then also it's just getting ahead early in counts, man. As you know, as a pitcher, especially against a young and talented team like Barachos, you want to get ahead. If you get ahead, and for those who just have not played the game as much, you get a little anxious at the plate being down a strike, even in the ball being so slow and coming in. And so getting ahead was so important. So I was talking to you earlier, the difference between playing fat kids and moving on to Barachos was significant, right? Fat kids they'd take 2 strikes and still have the same approach. Those are all guys that have been playing the game for a long time. They know how to play. They know how to shoot the ball one way or the other. With Barachos, great young talented team, but they maybe have not been down in games and or down in counts a lot. And so getting ahead early in counts was so important into us just being able to have more success on defense and just overall in that game.
Marky, why don't you go ahead and shoot? I'm going to take a sip of my beer. Give me your next question.
All right, so Alan, I know you pitch, and you kind of one of the guys who run the team. My question would be, if you were in the situation that Bankroll was in, and you were pitching to Julian, and you guys were up 1-0, and it was the bottom of the 6th, and you had an open base, would you have pitched to Julian, or would you have walked him?
In that situation, and I love Connor Grove with all my heart. Roommate, college, love that kid. But as any great hitter goes, they go through some struggles here, now and then. And so Connor was struggling, right? And so Julian was not. Owing Connor, he drives the ball deep, gap to gap, really drives the ball far. Julian can do that, but has a better ability to drive the ball for a line drive base hit. In that situation, we did not need the long drive, gap to gap that Connor provides. So as myself, I would absolutely have walked Julian, knowing that situation, knowing where Connor was and knowing where Connor's ability is. Love Grove.
He's good.
He's gonna be mad, but honestly, I was sitting behind the bench because we were the game after you guys, and it was a crazy game, 1-0, a lot of crazy lineouts and stuff. And when Julian came up, I'm like, I don't know if I'd pitch to him. I was like, I know it's the middle of their lineup, but I mean, Julian was hitting all week, and a lot of you guys were. But I think I'd take the chance of walking Julian and hoping the next guy hits a fly ball, something my outfield can run down. I don't think I'd pitch to Julian in that situation.
And besides all that, it also would load the bases and then get an out at any plate, right? That would be the last point I would make to that is just baseball, softball wise. That was the smartest decision in terms of just getting an out at any plate. That'd be my other approach to that.
Yeah, I mean, just to add a little thing to that, like the unwritten rules, you don't ever want to, no disrespect to the rest of your players, Alan, but the unwritten rule is you don't want to always have the best player on the team beat us, right? And if Julian was the best player this weekend, why would you want that individual to beat you, regardless who bats behind him? And that's my point. And I want to get to a comment here about you there, Alan. This kid is a consistent pitcher as any pitcher I've seen in 30 years. Never bitches about a call. He must be talking about me, Joey. But
He clearly hasn't watched enough of my games because
the consistent pitcher thing is you. The bitching about no calls, I'm assuming he's talking about me, since I was, one of the first people to get thrown out this year. But that's okay.
I will say, though, back to that scenario, because I did talk to Matty Dozen after, and I talked to Jake, too, on the other team. Just cordial softball talk, like, just chopping it up. We talked about it, and I thought Matty had a good point, too. No bias. He said, we thought about walking you, but at the same time, they were the home team. They were up 1. He didn't want to put me on first base, and then say Grove does drive one to the gap. There's a very good chance that I'm going to score from first. So in their defense,
Yep. No, it makes sense.
So just again, talk the game. I mean, I don't disagree with it at the same time. Like, again, best hitter, all that, whatever. Like, but Grove, again, when Grove hits the ball and if he hits in the gap, like, he's going to hit in the gap. And he can do that anytime. So, I mean, if you put someone who's got speed in general on first base now late in the game, like, you don't want to give them the lead. We have the home team. We're going to go bat anyways. So I do think that, it wasn't the wrong choice. You kind of, you rolled the dice. It didn't pan out for him, but that's the beauty of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So we just had a comment come in after our Joey Manza comment. He said you must have only seen him pitch one time.
I said the same thing. Like I was well behaved this weekend. Well behaved because usually I'm kind of not
Crazy.
that.
Maybe
AG's got some nerve. You got some nerve, AG.
Yeah. Maybe you've been watching the show and respect the umpires. Maybe that's what you heard, huh?
Just on that, I thought the umpires did such a phenomenal job this weekend. It was a great collection of umpires across the board that I think Julie made a great comment. They communicated very well. Like, not afraid to say, let's talk through it. And also getting out from, as simple as it is, getting out from behind the plate for me tells me that you're caring just a little bit more than the guy before. So shout out to the umpires this weekend. I thought they did a great job.
Yeah, just to add to that too. I mean, they were all great. Yeah, just to add to it. All of them were great. And especially like some of the newer umpires, like Mikey Marola was great. I saw Tom Lentine out there, senior. I'm going to forget some names. Nick, Pat, Joe, Randy did his thing. Who was that?
Was Kurt and Robbie out there?
I don't believe so. If they were, then we didn't have them.
Tony Ward umpired our game at home when we played you guys on Sunday. I thought he did a pretty good job too.
They were just really good at the communicating. Like before the game even started. Again, I mean, I'm not going to harp on Mikey, but he did do a really good job. He plays. He's a younger guy. He kind of understands the player aspect. But I think, again, I'm young too, and I haven't played as long as a lot of other people. But just starting from the start, laying out the rules and saying you can talk to me, but obviously in a respectful manner. But I'm gonna talk to you back. Like it's good for the game. When you're not gonna talk to some umpires and all of a sudden they think you're disrespecting them, and it kind of gets a little heated. So it makes the game more fun.
Absolutely. So you guys are now obviously. We all know you're going to make the Forest Park tournament. I don't see why you wouldn't. Are you guys looking forward to Forest Park? Are you going to have your full squad?
There is nothing more honorable, I think, to be invited to that tournament. Again, coming from a North Side Park League team, that's something that you just kind of looked at like that's not attainable. Like that kind of opportunity isn't attainable for us, and I think that we've stepped up to the occasion when we've been given the opportunity, and I think that this is an opportunity that we've earned over the last couple of years. And of course, I think the biggest stage, biggest lights. Why would you be afraid of that? And I think it's exciting to be there and to accept. I think last year was a great. We've been in the play-in for 2 years in a row. Won it last year. Beat a good team of Menace last year in the actual tournament, and so. I think it's fantastic. I think that they do a great job at that park, and the fields are fantastic per usual.
Well, definitely during no gloves. I mean, they
Absolutely.
really. I mean,
they're
good during the league play. I mean, they could be a little hard sometimes, but they're still nice. But I mean, no glove. I mean, they really do a good job taking care of those fields. They're fun to play on.
So we're excited about that opportunity, and we'll have our squad there.
That's a great thing. So I love when young teams get into big tournaments. It really enhances the game. It grows our game. you guys go back to Hamlin Park and some of those Park League guys see you guys, talk to you about the tournaments, and that's how it grows. A lot of it's word of mouth, and a lot of us players kind of forget about that sometimes, right? One of the reasons why Donnie and I started what we're doing is really to kind of grow the game and obviously get the word out to some of those players that might not know about softball. You know, a lot of my neighbors, I always bring this up, a lot of my neighbors, they had no clue about 16 inch softball, but they watched the show. Sure. And they, you know, and it's funny because a lot of them have no clue, never been to a 16 inch softball game in the world, but they can tell you about the 45s. They can tell you about, well, now the 30-38s. They'll be able to talk to me about softball, and none of them ever even been there. So, but the cool thing is they've all talked to me about coming out to Forest Park this year because now there's some knowledge behind what they're going to watch. In my eyes, I think that's a good thing for all of us, right? I mean, we're players. We want to see more people out there.
Yeah. We'll play in front of people. I mean, it's fun. I mean, again, softball, right? I mean, you play with your buddies. It's competitive, which is definitely why I play. But I mean, again, speaking for our team and our guys, and I know it's most people, like you play and then hanging out with the guys during the game and even after the game, outside the game. I mean, that's the best part of it at the end of the day. At least I hope. Right. I hope it is for everybody. If it's not, then maybe you should rethink why you're playing, in my opinion. But yes, but what I was getting at is playing in front of people, especially like no gloves in the big tournaments. I'm sure Papa Hops, I've heard about it. Like, I mean, that's exciting. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, going back to, you know, when I played baseball, I mean, just playing in front of fans, like it just motivates you. It just feels good. I mean, it's a unique feeling. So more people that come out and watch us. I know it's just softball at the end of the day, but I mean, it's very entertaining. I mean, it's a fun game.
I always say it, right? You see cornhole, you see a lot of these wiffle ball things on TV. There's no reason why our game shouldn't be on TV, and that's our goal. Whether it takes me 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, our goal is to get it back on TV. So we had a comment by Randy Nelson. He said, "Great job, fellas." Dick Padilla came in and said the 30-38 should come to the South Side to play in my tournament. Joe Manza said he has to go. He says he loves the show tonight, but he's over 50 years old, so he has to go to bed. So, but it leads me to my next question for both of you guys, starting with you, Alan. What is the one guy in softball right now that you'd want to play with that you've never had a chance to?
That's very easy for me. Iggy, he's got the best hair in softball, so I would love to be able to play with someone.
Dude, your eyes must be fucking blind, huh? Look at that, dude. And I even did it for you guys. Look at this thing.
Yeah. You got good hair, Jim.
Yeah, no, man. Iggy has been, I mean, we've been tight over the last couple of years, and he's a super down-to-earth guy. And I've played against him several times, both at Hamlin and different parks when he's been playing with Lips. But he's a real chill dude, down-to-earth, just smacks the shit out of the ball. And so I would love to have the opportunity to play with him one day.
What about you, Julian?
It's funny, we were talking about this before, and I said Iggy too, right? Because who wants more to play Iggy? But I would say Spencer Mahoney. So Spencer and I, and the reason is me and Spencer played against each other in college. We don't know each other too much. I've gotten to say hello to him here and there, a few small talk. He was a stud baseball player. Stud. I mean, he's like 6'10", plays shortstop, rakes, makes every kind of play. I know he pitched for the Yankees and threw 100 miles an hour. I've seen him play softball, so I mean, Spencer,
sounds like you're talking about Marky Robinson there.
I was gonna say Mark, like we talked about, but me and Mark kind of played with each other at circuits for one no glove, so it counts.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But Spencer, I would love to play with Spencer again. Like I said, I don't know him too well. I know he's a great player. I hear he's a great dude. It's because we played against each other in college. I think that would be kind of cool, play with Spencer.
Absolutely.
How about you guys? Has anyone ever asked you that question?
That's a good point.
No one's ever asked me. Marky, go ahead. You can answer it first.
I got to pick? Oh, man.
You're a guest. You're a guest host, baby. Come on.
Well, I guess. Well, I wouldn't say CJ because I've already played with him. I actually haven't played with Uncle Jimmy. I'd probably pick Uncle Jimmy. We've never actually played together.
Come on, Mark. That's so lame.
No, I really played with a bunch of people. I mean, I could say you two, but you're the guest. That's kind of, I mean, 38 looking for a guy for no gloves.
He does want to come on the show again. He's taking your spot, Donnie, if you're watching. Jimmy, who you got?
Well, there's, I in a lot of the pickup tournaments and things like that, I get to play with a lot of these guys, right? So, I'm just trying to think someone that comes to mind.
You just say me, Jimmy. It's okay.
I would, yeah, you, Julian. No, you know what? I'm thinking probably more like a Justin from Flash, or I don't know. I might go a little bit low on the total, but Tommy Lentine. I love Tommy Lentine Sr. You know, I got to play with him in a pickup tournament for one time, but I just think he's an incredible dude. Old man, knows a lot about the game. He's a senior guy, positive guy. I like his attitude. Every time I'm talking to him, he seems like he's always having a good time. You know, he doesn't really play anymore, but more of a coach play type thing.
Sure.
Would be a guy for me. And then, you know, some of the older guys that are retired now, that I didn't get a chance to play with because I was on Flash when I was younger, playing against a lot of those guys on the 45s and things like that as well. So, but yeah, I mean, that's a great question, right? That's why I asked the question, because it really makes you think.
I'll one up it. Give me an A player that you maybe don't know. You might not even know his name. Give me an A player, because you're a major guy. So what about an A player that you probably, I know you've played with a lot of people, but what about an A player?
I'll go, Jimmy. I'll give you a second because I want to retract my statement. I forgot. I never got to play with my dad. I would want to play with my dad. I knew I was missing something. Because I hear all my stories how my dad was good. I know, Julian, you met my dad this weekend.
Yeah, it was nice. It was good to meet him.
He's been the same size his whole life, and he played left field. So I was young when he did, so I would like to see it. I've heard stories. So that's who I'd want to play with. Sorry, Uncle Jim. You're second on the list.
No worries. Julian, honestly, you know, with you playing on an A team, you'd be a guy on my list. Not just because you're a guest, but, you know, because I've seen you play, obviously talent level and things like that. But, you know, since you are a guest, I'm going to pick somebody else. And I think the A player, to me, that I think I'd have a lot of fun with, just because he doesn't shut the fuck up, is Fat Jason.
Oh, my God.
and the thing, that, you know, is that we're not going on talent. We're going on mouth here. And I think his mouth is one of the top 3 mouths in softball. And I just would love to hear him talk shit the whole game. But just for one game.
If he's on your team, you love him. I mean, again, like, if he's on your team, he's good. Yeah. Jason's a good dude. I went to grammar school with the kid, so I've known him for a while. Go ahead, Al.
Jason knows I love him too, but I like.
Jason, he went up to me and wished me luck in the championship game.
He's a good dude at the end of the day. He is a good dude at the end of the day. He gets into it during the games. Like, it flips a switch where he just has to talk to the other team.
Sure.
You know, just can't keep it in the dugout. Sorry, Jay. Not really, but, you know.
I just think he'd be entertaining for one game, you know, especially playing like CJ and those guys where you know he's going to run his mouth the whole time. Or, you know,
just one game. Just one game, right? Just
one game.
Yeah, one game.
One game.
One game and I'm out. But, you know, I think he'd be entertaining. There's a lot of good players. Like, you know, Cree from Menace always stood out to me. I got to play with him when he was really, really young, but he didn't really play with us. It was more his brothers and Tommy Strickland. And when Menace was really good, like 20 years ago, when they were all young and up and coming, you know, Menace is still a quality A team now, but Cree has really kept that team together over the years. And it's like, I feel like every year they're losing 3-4 guys. But he still puts out a competitive squad, and, you know, he's still keeping Menace right there in the thick of things. I mean, they got a play-in game this year, if I'm correct, right, Marky?
Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard they are one of the play-in teams for No Gloves this year.
Where'd you guys hear that from?
I can't reveal my sources.
Marky's the one that told me, so.
Oh, Mark! I hear Mark's a voter now. I mean, you know.
Hey, no, I just hear from people. I just tell Uncle Jimmy what I hear. If he wants to announce it, it's up to him.
But either way,
I haven't heard the rumor mill.
Rumor mill, Julian the Splash. Oh,
yeah. Julian, your name was lighting up. Dude, rumor mill's coming back. We're only a couple months away from the rumor mill.
Wow. I can't wait. It's my favorite part of the winter.
I'm starting a bunch. You're coming to Splash.
My favorite part.
So, Marky, why don't you hit them with your next question before I have 2 more after this.
All right. So, obviously, you guys won A. They're not going to let you go play A No Glove again next year. And like you guys said, you guys don't do a bunch of tournaments. So, I know you guys are going to play No Gloves. And then I know you guys hate playing with gloves. So, what's kind of the future look like for the 38s?
Yeah, that's a great question, Mark. You know, something I value especially as a new dad, is the time I get to spend with my family, and that's going to be a priority, I think, for a lot of guys on our team going forward. So anytime we have the opportunity to play in 1 or 2 day tournaments, single elimination, or maybe again, smaller schedule, I think that's something we're going to identify. There'll be opportunities next year. I think that we'll jump into some of the bigger tournaments. We'll take a look at it and we'll chat with the team to make sure everyone's available, because we want to show up and be competitive, and be able to commit a good squad for 3-4 days, whatever they might look like. But the tournaments that are close to us, Seriali up on the north side of Hamlin Park is something that is near and dear to us. That first responders tournament that Iggy and Frank put on, we'll be there again. We won that last year. We'll be at that tournament. And so those are tournaments run by great people that we're proud to support. And so we'll definitely be at those again. Next year, I think there could be some new stuff for us. And I think that we have a lot more to share probably come next year when that we haven't talked too much more about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you guys might know, maybe Mark more than Jimmy, or maybe both. I don't know. When you win the A no glove tournament, are you automatically, they just tell you go major, or is it like they vote on it? They talk to you about it. Do you guys know how it works?
Yeah, I kind of have an idea. I mean, I don't hold me to this, but I mean, when you win the A no glove national, obviously 100 out of 100 times you're going to get in Forest Park this year. That's a given, right? So we already know that. But for next year, if you don't play any of those tournaments, like a major tournament to show yourself, it's tough for you guys to get in Forest Park because you're not playing. Now, I would recommend you guys step up to the major league next year in Forest Park League, because Forest Park really looks at that as an in-house thing. They take usually every team, as long as you're not dead last, and if you're dead last, you get a playing game like Impact, right? So one of the things that is going to happen, I mean, if you really think about it, last year, the team that was 0-16 in the league, who was it, Marky? They got Line Drive. So Line Drive won the A National the year before. Remember, they won the glove.
Yeah, they had our left fielder,
Mark Ross.
Yeah, so they came out with 0-16 and still got a playing game.
No,
you and I both know you're not going to go 0-16 next year.
They actually didn't get a playing game, Jimmy. They didn't even get it.
They did not.
Line Drive?
They did not. It was us, 38, Whale, and
well, they
March.
were 0-16. I know they were considered.
March was the team from the major league that had to play in last year.
Which you guys beat, Mark?
Yeah, then we lost to this one too. We're not going to.
They suck.
You guys know you're not going to be near the bottom of the major league. There's a lot of teams in that major league right now that you guys can compete with if you guys show up. And not only that, but at least you're going to the park and you're going to have a competitive softball game every single night, as you probably do in the A League. But it's even going to be more competitive in the major league. And a lot of guys in the major league, to your point with commitment, teams are shorthanded a lot. So you can catch a major team on 10 or 11 guys. And, not saying you can't beat them with a full squad, but be able to sneak out a win or two, maybe that going into the year, you're like, yeah, well, we could probably go 8-7, right? Or something along those lines. And now all of a sudden you're 10-5, and it's a huge difference in the league. And there's always going to be teams where you lose to that you're not expecting to. So it kind of goes both ways. But I've seen you guys play last year. I obviously haven't seen you much play this year, but winning the A no glove, I watched you guys on the live stream a little bit. You guys were hitting the ball over the yard. You guys can compete with the major guys. There's no reason to run from it. Not saying you are, but in reality, step up, play the major ball. You guys will have a great time with it. And you mentioned tournaments, though. I wanted to talk about this because it was on my mind. The major glove tournament this year, Rismondo, the biggest 12-inch team in softball, is coming to play our game. I would love for you guys to come to major nationals, play with a glove. I know it might not be your thing. I understand it. None of us really like playing with a glove, but it's more like baseball, and that's why I like it, because it does give those mid-level to high A teams an opportunity to make a run. I mean, Hall of Fame 2 years ago made a run to the championship game. There's no way in hell anyone would ever predicted that. And Hall of Fame's a great team, but no one starting that tournament would ever said Hall of Fame would have been in the final. Well, I mean, the glove makes a difference, in my opinion. those high major to low A teams, the door is wide open. It truly is. It's wide open. I mean, a couple of years ago, I mean, I know Menace beat us, Smackout beat Flash. There was a lot of ups and downs for a lot of those major teams over this tournament, and I think it's a big thing. And I think now with this complex, you guys would love this complex. This complex is a bar in the middle. It's an incredible all-turf complex. Uh, it's got 7 fields, even though the SSA only uses 2. I always bust Patty's balls about that. It's definitely something that I think you guys should recommend. If you guys don't make it this year, I understand, but maybe down the road, it's something that you guys should play. I think you guys would have an absolute blast. And I feel playing softball as long as I have, the last 2 years, that major softball tournament is starting to get its juju back a little bit. It's starting to get the luster that it had back in the Mount Prospect days when we go to Mount Prospect and Marshalltown and all those things. When it meant something. Back in the day, the major glove tournament was bigger than Forest Park at some points. So, it's just something to think about as you guys take that next step, because I think you guys are right there. You're going to start coming down the hill to take that next step to play more major, and I think a lot of guys in your team are going to want to do it.
Well, I definitely appreciate the
advice.
The advice, just the props you're giving our team. Number one.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit both points real quick. Now you can go too. Going up to major. If we get our guys commitment, I know, again, like taking commitment out of it and scheduling with life, we would love to go major. Like, I feel like, again, and I know Alan agrees, and so does our team. When we're all there, we're a great team. We can compete with anybody, right? Like most teams.
Right.
And I truly believe that. And that's, again, the beauty of softball, because when you have a good, solid group of guys who know how to play the game, anybody can win the game. Versus anybody. 45s, flashback, obviously the top teams, circuits, whoever else you want to name.
Yep.
I feel we would love to do it. Taking all the other stuff out of it. Just touch that point. Going to the glove stuff, I feel like we would definitely be great with gloves. I mean, we have a great defense. But I want to just put it out there. I just love, Jimmy, hearing you harp on it, because it really cracks me up. You sound like the SSA guys. I'm like seeing a little middle here. Like there's some cordialness going on there. They say the same stuff. They just play gloves. So I just want to give you the jab there, because you're giving me.
No, absolutely. You can give me shit all you want. I love it. So
yeah. I mean, we talk about it again. It always comes down to commitment. Do we want to play with gloves at the end of the day? No, because
I don't think any of us do. Right?
No, we don't. Exactly, we don't. Because my favorite part about 16 softball, and I'm sure it's 99% of people who play, is because we use our bare hands, and it makes the game so unique. Like, right. Especially when it comes to the defensive part. Obviously, hitting, it does make it tougher hitting, because now people can stretch for balls. It's a little bit different game. It makes it more like baseball, like you said. And the beauty of 16 softball, which is why I love it personally, and I don't play baseball or play 12-inch, because I get to use my hands, and I think that's just very, very unique. And I get it. It's the biggest tournament. It once was. It still is a very big tournament. They get the Iowa teams who don't play without the glove. It gives them a chance to come in and kind of maybe level the playing field, however you want to phrase it.
Yeah.
But we definitely want to play tournaments. I mean, again, like it always comes back to commitment. Alan can tell you that. The rest of the guys can tell you that. We'll talk about it, just like we tell the guys who ask us to play.
Yeah, absolutely. And you bring up a really good point, right? The thing is you mentioned Iowa. Iowa 5 years ago never played without a glove on a regular basis. Those major teams over there started playing without a glove. They understand how the game is played. But for that one weekend, Labor Day weekend, to your point, it levels the playing field. It gives us an opportunity to grow our game outside of the 16-inch world, which is what I like. It gives us an opportunity to chase more of the 12-inch teams to come play 16-inch. That's how we grow our game, right? We grow our game by bringing more people that are not familiar with 16-inch to play 16-inch. And then when they find out that, wait a minute, these crazy motherfuckers play without a glove? Really? Like when you go down to Yuma and you go down to those other part, like, that all helps the game. And it's not, you mentioned SSA. Yeah, like SSA does a good job of running tournaments and doing what they do. The one thing that I think we all have to come together on as players and understand that we need to make some changes in this game for the commitment level, to your point, right? What I'm hearing from you guys is about commitment, right? Families, other things going on. If you had 1-day tournaments or you had 2-day tournaments that ended on a Saturday, it'd be a lot easier to get a lot of your guys to commit. And that's been my biggest push in this game right now, is to get more commitment. And how do you get more commitment? And that's my next question to both of you guys, is how do we get more commitment in softball? Because you guys have been saying it all night long. And I agree with Alan 100%. Family's most important, 100%, right? But Alan also likes to play softball. You know what I mean? Alan wants to compete. Alan wants to get that competitive edge out. So, Alan, starting with you, how do we do that, right? How do we become more commitment?
Yeah, I think to your point, there needs to be a strong balance of competitive softball, but softball that doesn't take 4 days, right? Softball that's not Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Friday,
Right.
Saturday, Sunday, right? And so I know that there are circumstances with parks that don't allow you to play it past a certain time, or they have other commitments, but we need to find the places that will take us in and play 1 or 2 day tournaments, because I understand that sometimes the draw is maybe on a Sunday, everyone comes and the families come and everyone joins.
Yep.
On Sunday, we didn't see that, right? On Sunday, we didn't see that. There was a long weekend. I was grateful my wife and my daughter were there for 5 hours, and well, that was a long day for them, and I was really appreciative that they were there to celebrate with us afterwards, but that's a big commitment, right? And so if we can see that come down to a 1 or 2 day thing, I think that makes a bigger difference for me and for a lot of the 38s as well.
Yep. Julian, what's your thought, Julian?
Yeah, I mean, it's just natural, like, human element, I guess, less days playing recreational softball at the end of the day. Everyone's got families, everyone's got jobs, everyone's got things to do.
Yeah.
I know it's, again, I can keep playing devil's advocate, but if you can cut the softball time down to a certain aspect, it's going to make everybody's lives easier, because maybe families are more inclined to go out there. They know that if you are there all night, day, Friday, Friday, Saturday, you're going to be around Sunday to do what we were supposed to do. And all of a sudden you're texting me and say, hey, we keep winning, and I'm here till 5 and
yep.
1. And like, it's me texting my girlfriend. I'm like, hey, we won. Now I got to, I'm supposed to go to our family's house. Now I'm going to go out and celebrate.
Right.
Of course she supports it. She gets it. But, sometimes it's just tough conversations, and it's still supportive, but it's life still. And again, it is as much as I love softball, and it's great.
Yeah.
Like, it's still just softball. Like we keep saying, like, family is always number one. So is work, a few other things. So,
and I'll say too that it was cool that we double dipped Barachos and A's. It would have been freaking awesome to just go into a single elimination tournament and just win the whole thing. Like, there's something to be said about single elim tournaments that really puts you in a different perspective. You just show up for a bad day. All right, we beat 45. We beat these teams. It doesn't matter who it is. Like, you can show up. You have to show up that day in that game, and if you don't, you're done. Like, you don't get a second chance at it. Show up and play. And if you don't, that really would, I think, elevate the playing field to a lot of different teams to allow them to step up and play, because I think that a single elim gives everybody an equal opportunity to play.
My opinion, since we're talking about tournaments, there should be 2 tournaments a year that is double elimination throughout. That should be No Glove National, because that's our mecca, right? Why change it? And then also the Glove National tournament, which is over Labor Day, because everyone has off work Monday. Now, I know, I'm talking about perception in softball, crowds in softball. Every athlete in America loves to play in front of a crowd. I don't give a shit who you talk to, okay? I think that's a huge thing. The flip side of that is what Moji just said, what I have on the screen, right?
We see it.
He says, I know commitment is a huge issue for every team nowadays, but just so you know that the big tournaments are always on the same weekends every single year. So it's easy to schedule around if you think about it. So to his point, yes, I agree. But also, to your point, the 4-day thing, right? Moji's makes a great point by saying, yes, every tournament is 4 days. Every single one, right? Every single one's on the same weekend every single year. I could tell you right now, next year, what the tournament dates are going to be for those weekends so you can plan around it. The flip side of that is what you said, Alan, is you're going to play 3 days on that weekend, which I know right now you can't say you're going to be playing Sunday, you just still got to plan for it. And
Absolutely.
when your wife and girlfriends and whatever, when they plan things 3 months, 4 or 5 months in advance, as we all know, and what happens nowadays, all of a sudden that weekend pops up and now you can't play because you promised your wife you're going to some party for her grandma's birthday in Bufu, Bufu, Egypt. So, like, we've all been there. We all had the arguments. We've all fought about it because we love the game. What do you guys think about that, though? Do you think, like, more single elimination would be huge, like, to your point? You guys, what is your true thought process behind that? If we were to make 3 of the major events single elimination, 2 of them double, is that something that you guys would want to be a part of?
I think that we had better buy-in from our team specifically if we had more single elimination tournaments. No question about it. I think that, yeah, to Moji's point, they are the same tournaments every weekend. But what if I got a wedding? What if I got a graduation? What if I have something that comes up every 4 years that takes the place of this one tournament, right? I'm going to that, right? And no matter what, I know that's the same weekend, but I'm going to choose my family and my commitments that I have outside of softball over softball because family's forever. Softball's until, physically I can't probably do it anymore, right? And so whatever that might look like, right? To your initial question, I think the single elimination would go a long way in terms of building the game and in terms of getting more participation from, I think, our generation of players.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I agree with Alan, and I agree with Moji too. I mean, you can pre-plan as much as you want. I think again, the human element comes out there's a lot of people who play softball, and you can't, if someone, God forbid, dies in your family, you got to go to a funeral. This stuff happens in life, which, can take away from your team being at its full capacity for however many days, even if it's just one, right? Even to just get real specific. So life's going to take its course. But again, to answer your question, I think, the shorter day tournaments will probably be better. Maybe some people will complain and say, what if we lose the first game and now we don't get the chance to go back? Whatever. There's more than one tournament.
Yep.
It's also it's the good part about it. Maybe that'll motivate you more to come out really ready to play that first game, right? Instead of just coming up and saying, yeah, we're playing flash, we're playing 45s, and we're probably gonna lose, but don't worry about it. We'll just go into the loser bracket and we can play X, Y, and Z, and we'll be fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can go either way with it, So
yeah.
There's no right or wrong
answer.
answer.
Makes a good sense, and I always say this: social media really puts everything in front of everybody. Nowadays, I know what my cousin's boyfriend's sister is doing and on a Sunday, and I'm invited to my cousin's sister's boyfriend's party, whatever. You know what I mean? And and your wife, your girlfriends want to go. It does make it more difficult from what it was 20 years ago when you didn't have social media. And that's the one bad thing about what we do nowadays is that a lot of the guys can't lie to their wives or girlfriends anymore because everything's live streamed. Hey, we're still playing at the field as you're sitting there watching games. I would never do that to my wife because I love her, but most people would 15, 20 years ago. So speaking about love, we have a girl, Jasmine, just says, I love Julian. So I'm assuming that's your girlfriend?
I love you too, Jazz.
Yeah.
I had to bring her relax on Sunday, Sunday evening to show her I did play softball all day today. So here's the.
And now we're making it proof, right? So Michael Marasovic again says Julian will be watching us play in the crowd at Papa Hops, Jimmy. So he threw that out there. Your boy,
Papa Hops is so
I
big.
see Moji's birth certificate. I don't know if he actually is 45.
Your boy Alex said he's going to be driving. If he's driving to Joliet Thursday through Sunday, he brought the next comment. He goes, I promise you, I want to drive off the bridge.
Sounds about right. Yeah. And I think that probably 50% of our guys agree.
Yeah.
But honestly, think about it though. You talk about some of the guys who are on the north side of Chicago. They're not driving to Joliet 4 days a week. It's just not happening.
It's called a hotel. I'll show you what one looks like.
Yeah, but we're not paying for a hotel to play softball. It's just not happening.
You can sponsor us, Jimmy. Come on. We can make some happen.
I'll sponsor you guys. You come to Major Nationals. My bar is 5 minutes from the field.
I gotta come see the new place. I've been seeing the social media. It looks awesome.
It looks awesome, man. It's gonna be awesome. You'll see it. You'll hear about it. So I promise you, you guys play Major Nationals. I'll sponsor you guys. but only you guys.
You heard it there first. You heard
I
it there
did hear
first.
that. Well, we can always
And
go back
only
to
you
the
guys,
stream.
no one else.
Yeah, Mark, you're out.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Mark's coming over.
Well, rumor mill's starting early.
So TJ Flanagan, our guy from Iowa here, who plays on Hall of Fame, he says, find a wife who likes watching it. It makes it
They love watching, man. They do. They really
come
do.
out, man. They come
We
out.
have a good crowd. I'll put us up there with. Hamlin Park. I mean, again, it's our home. It's our hometown park, but
Right.
we get a crowd at Hamlin. I mean,
For sure.
our families come out,
No question.
and wives and girlfriends.
For sure.
Every tournament, you guys do have a big group of people always watching you guys. Like every
Sports
time.
system is like no other.
But Mark, that goes back to the point. We play once a month, maybe in the summer,
Yeah.
right? We say, hey, everybody know we're going to this tournament this weekend, and everyone makes an effort to come, right? It's not this weekend, that weekend, right? We understand that does not help us when it comes to no gloves or when it comes to rankings, right? But we play because I love Julian. I play because I play with my guys. I don't play for rankings. I don't play for those kind of accolades. I play because my family's there to watch. We can hang out after, have a beer, but I can play with my guys too. That's who we are, and that's why I think why we're able to.
You make my point that I've been saying for 3 years now. Softball needs to change because the commitment level has changed. And if our game doesn't change with it, in 5 years, we won't have a major softball game anymore. And it'll be more of the park team, which is fine. But I'm just saying in general, like to promote our game, you want to see the best players play, right? You guys want to play the best players. And that's what we need, right? We need kids like yourself, guys that are young in this game, that are going to take that next step to promote our game to the next generation. You know, I only have a couple years left before my kid starts playing travel ball. So when I'm done, and I'll be able to. I won't be the full 99% commitment that I have now, you know. And I'm still going to be doing the show because I have to, right? Me and Donnie. But either way, it's not going to be the same. And I understand your point. But if it was more one-day tournaments, it's a lot easier to pull off. Hey, babe, I'm going to play the one-day tournament, you know, and then move forward. And this has been going on for 3 or 4 years. I've been saying this because more of the kids nowadays, Marky's age and younger, they don't want to play 4 days. You know,
Another problem is 30-38s are an A team, Splash is an A team. If you just look at the month of June, they had north-south, then you had midsummer, you had a 1 week break, then you have to go play A no gloves. Why, or whatever the configuration was, there's 3 of the 4 weekends. None of us are going to want to do that. And I know some teams do like the fat kids getting everything, but like I know the Splash guys don't want to do that. I mean, it's crazy, and it's like it seems different because the major guys, you guys only have to deal with 2 tournaments in June, and then it's like, all right, now we got to rest up, we get our league games in, and it's no gloves. For 8 teams, it's like tournament, off weekend, A no gloves, and now hopefully you got that bid or a play in to get into no gloves, and now it's like, all right, now we got to like get prepared for that. And it's like, I don't know. I just don't think the scheduling helps A teams and especially the younger generation because, like, as these guys say, they're like the family stuff and all that's more important. So it's like there has to be a happy medium or like make one of those major tournaments single elimination. Maybe the 30 or 38s are like, all right, we'll come out now because it's single elim and we'll still play another tournament that month because even though that one might be 3 days, this one's 1 day and it'll help everyone. I think the days of having all these 4-day tournaments are either going to come to an end because no one's going to play them or they're going to have to change. It's going to be one or the other.
And I think that's where we need to come together as teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you guys, 38s, Marky, you guys, a lot of the major teams, we got to say, listen, we're not going to play if it's a 4-day tournament. Go ahead and run a tournament with no teams. See where you get.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if you make it 1 day, you know what? Now we got 40-something teams, and now we can play a 1-day single elimination tournament. I think it'd be pretty damn cool.
And
that would just make it more intense.
It's about crowds. You have 40 teams out there with 40 families, and more families are going to come out because you got 1 day to commit to. You're going to have a hell of a crowd out there for a 40-team tournament.
And think about the concession stand money. You could lower the tournament price because some of these tournaments are $300 a pop. So now you're asking these A teams who might not have all the sponsors, hey, I need $1,000 this month to play 3 tournaments, 2 tournaments, I might win a game, and then I'll have A no gloves where I'll compete with people like in my tier of players. So it's like if you have a 1-day tournament, it'll be cheaper. In my opinion, it should be.
Right. So think about this too, right? What is the number one thing when you walk into a bar? Before we were all in our single days, Mark, you still do this. It doesn't really matter for you.
Thanks.
You stay regardless of the crowd. But when you walk into a bar when you're single, think about this, and you look around the bar and the bar is dead, what do you want to do? You want to get the fuck out of there. When you walk into a bar and the bar is packed, crowded, what do you want to do? You want to stay, right? Because you're part of the element, you're part of the environment. It's perception. Perception is key. And if you think you do that in 16 in softball, what is going to happen? You walk out to a field, Julian, 3 of your buddies show up on a Saturday night because you're hanging out at the field, and they come and they show up and there's 1,000 people, even 500 people watching a game on a Saturday night. More people are going to talk about 16 in softball and want to go to that park next year because there were so many people there. When they show up on a Sunday and there's 50 people watching in a big ass field, it looks like there's nobody there. The perception is horrible. They don't want to come out.
That's why Papa
Hops is an example. Papa Hops is a great example. I mean, again, I haven't been there, but I know it's a 1-day tournament on the south side in Mount Greenwood.
Yeah.
But because it's 1 day, they got a bunch of teams. Obviously, it's a high-level tournament still. But, I mean, everyone goes out there. I mean, I've seen it on the stream. I mean, it's crazy. I can almost guarantee you can get that in a bunch of different neighborhoods. If you make it the 1 day, like Alan said, like you guys are saying, with a bunch of teams 1 day, you promote it. I mean, like you got 20 teams with all their families. You're gonna have a good crowd.
It takes time though, right? It just doesn't happen in 1 year. You got to run it 2, 3. Perception is, you know what I mean? Like, and that's what I tell everybody. Like, the first thing you walk into a bar as a single guy, you walk in, what do you look for? Well, nowadays you look for men and women, but you know, back in the day you would only look for women, right? So you know, when you'd walk in a bar, you're looking for women because you're a single guy looking for women. It's perception. When women are at a bar, you stay. When the bar's crowded, you stay. When the bar's dead, you leave. And that's what you feel about 16 in softball. Like when you look at a tournament and Gio's got more people watching his live stream than there is at the field, there's an issue with that. I'm sorry, but there's an issue with that.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any one of us want to leave our families or do anything on a Sunday to go play in front of fucking 15 people. I'm sorry. Why is Forest Park so popular? Everyone shows up. Everyone watches softball. Everyone's gambling on the game. Perception. People show up. Right?
Right.
You get my point. And that's what we as a group of players, we have to come together and we have to literally put down our foot next year to say, listen, we're not going to play 4-day tournaments anymore. We don't mind Forest Park. We don't mind major nationals. But the rest of the shit's got to go to 1 day. Single elimination. And you know what? You're going to have some people in the major level complain. I get all that. Because if Flash draws 45's first game, they're going to be bitching and moaning. Hey, dude, it's luck of the draw. You know what I mean?
But guess what? Guess what? We're going to show up and we're going to watch that Flash 45's game. Why? It might be the best game of that whole tournament. I'm going to show up early and watch that game. No question.
Why? Because you create urgency. That's why Game 7 is single eliminations. You know, why are Game 7s watched the most? Because it's win or go home.
Absolutely.
Uncle Jimmy, I don't know if you remember this. I think it might have been the last year of ASA or the first year of SSA. Flash and 45s drew each other in the Nationals. I think it was SSA.
Yes.
And that Friday night, they were the only game playing, and that crowd that Friday night, because every team was there, they came and watched because there's no other games on, and then the championship was a rematch, and the park wasn't even close to the crowd they had for Friday night. Can you imagine how crazy if that game would have been a single elim game too? Like,
oh, I know. Urgency. Think about what urgency creates in sports, right? Mm-hmm. So Moji we're talking about walking into bars. Moji looks for the machines. So you guys
not wrong there.
So I usually leave a bar when it's packed too hard to find a food order. That's pretty cool about that. That was hysterical. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot, guys. We have a ton of comments coming in. You know what I mean? It's awesome to have you guys on the show. I think it's a really cool thing to hear it from, you guys as well at that level, just because let's be honest, we don't hear from you guys very much. You know, I get to see you in a couple tournaments a year, and I play a majority of all the tournaments. You know, so Jimmy says, Dave Padilla says, Jimmy, why don't you think about running a one-day tournament? You know what? It has crossed my mind. And here's the thing. You know, I run the Dana Strong, as you guys know. It's a charity tournament. It's not legit roster though. It's pickup rosters, which obviously puts a damper in some things. I do run a major. I do run an A side for those reasons, and it's single elimination. And last year we had Marky. You were there. We probably had what 200-300 people.
It's always a fun time.
Always a great time. People stick up. It's when Wentworth Park.
You got the jump house for kids.
Let me know. You know, we go to Lawler's Tavern afterwards on Archer. You know, Ivy, Lawler, and Shane and those guys, they do a great job of letting us kind of take over the bar after the tournament, which is 3 blocks from the field. So, you know, if you guys want to get in, let me know. But at the same time, to his point, I would love to run a major event that's a one-day single elimination in September. But the problem is after Glove National, a lot of the major teams don't want to play anymore. You know, I would love to run it during the year, but then find me a weekend that's possible. It's very hard. You know, it's almost impossible because you got a lot of us major guys. We go to Yuma, we go to Iowa, we go a lot of places, and it's, you know, it's tough. It's tough to find a weekend. If I told my wife, you know, another weekend I'm going to be gone, I probably won't have a house to live in anymore. You know what I mean?
You got the dome. You'll be all right.
Yeah, you got the dome.
I'll just pop a tent out there and just live in the dome.
There you go.
So, but Marky, go ahead, Marky. Before I get to my last question, if you have anything else you want to ask.
No, I think I asked them everything. I mean, maybe how you guys are feeling. I know you guys played 5 games on Sunday. I know you guys played other games before that. How you guys just feeling like physically? Because I mean, I know I feel pretty banged up, and I didn't play nearly as half as game as you. So I want to know how you guys are feeling.
Well, you're fat.
Uncle Jimmy and cousin Donnie have a sunscreen sponsor, but you guys should look into one because I needed to prescribe to that sponsor for this weekend because I'm burnt to a toast. But you know, it was a grind. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, sure. I mean, I'm 29, but it hurts like hell. No question about it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Let's say, yeah, I'm definitely not in my college shape anymore, so I'm feeling it. I mean, I think I played 14 games in 7 days, which I bet most major guys like that's normal.
Yeah, right.
But no,
and I feel it. And I'll give a shout out to Mark. We love playing Splash. I think that we have a great time with you guys every time. You guys are a class act. We really appreciate playing with you guys. I always have a lot of fun. So shout out to
Mark.
I'm
gonna miss it now that you guys are no longer A players. So
can we get over
I'm
that?
just messing. I'm just messing.
I declined the
I'm messing. No, you guys are always fun to play. We always mess around. I know Scotty Toothpick likes to great scenes, but whoever said that comment in our game, get that guy another toothpick. I was catching. I thought it was hysterical. I don't know if Scotty heard it because he has his hearing aid on or not, but I mean that was awesome.
Hey, you guys will get a laugh out of this. This came from Christos. He says, "Why does Donnie look so different on the right side tonight?" So
better looking, way better looking.
Oh, I appreciate you guys. Hey, Uncle Jimmy, one other thing. I know before you get to your last question, these guys run a golf outing. If they want to promote their little golf outing, I know Julian was telling me about it over the weekend. The 3038s run a little golf outing.
Yeah, so the first Saturday in October every year, I run a golf tournament at Indian Boundary, the Forest Reserve course, I think just south of O'Hare. But it's a good time. We're looking to do a shotgun this year, 18 foursomes. Proceeds support the Leukemia Research Foundation. So it's a foundation that's close to me, but something we have a lot of fun with every year. So just shout out. Happy to reach out to me if you guys have any interest.
Are you guys filled already?
No, not yet. I haven't even sent out save the date, but I've got a lot of interest so far.
And you will get this sweet bucket hat. You get
the bucket hat.
This bucket hat is very
Julius,
nice.
I want to cover the hair though, my man.
I'm burnt. Look at my forehead. I gotta wear the hat. I'm burnt.
That's okay because Jasmine still loves you. All right, remember that.
Oh, check it out.
She's just trying to show off.
Hey, dude, she's in love with the MVP. She needs to show off, right?
Smart
So,
girl.
but hey, so guys, you know, once again, congrats. Obviously, we appreciate you joining the Uncle Jimmy, Cousin Donnie show, sponsored by the Beacon Tap. I appreciate Mr. Tommy Reamer for doing that. But Marky, before I get to my last question, guys, what is your favorite jersey? Because I know Donnie's not here, Cousin Donnie's not here tonight. He's actually driving back right now from Colorado. I thought he was going to tap into the live stream, and he hasn't yet. So maybe hopefully he hasn't driven off the side of the road. But tell us what your guys' favorite jersey is.
The game, like in the 16-inch game, our favorite jersey.
Your favorite jersey.
You know, I'm kind of old school. I kind of like Chuck's, to be honest with you. Chuck's jerseys last year, straightforward, cool. I like the blue with the gray and the black and the white. That they were great. I really enjoyed seeing those last year.
My guy Drew will like that for sure. Go ahead, Julian.
I like those.
Softball, I said, right?
Yeah,
Sorry.
softball. Yeah.
I hate to say it because I hate Fat Jason. But I love notes though, so I love notes. With Fat Kids, man, they got some sick dirt. They got some sick gear. I mean, they're always very clean. They got like some Black Hawk edition jerseys this year.
Yeah, I saw those.
Cool. Fat Kids, they usually got some cool stuff. I hate to say it, but they do.
How about you guys?
Honestly, to your point, I did like the whole like White Sox looking Chuck shirts. Those were really cool that they had. The other one that stands out to me is kind of the red 45 ones. They
sure.
just
45s. Come on, Jim.
I know. They just look bright to me though, and they just stand out. You know what I mean? The red ones though.
I like the Meatball City, Arizona Diamondbacks look they're kind of going with this year. Meatball City's always got a lot of clean uniforms, so Meatball City's always got some cool
Moneyline's got a cool one too. We just saw them when we were at Melrose. They got like their little blue with, I think they have some pinstripes on there too. Those are kind of cool.
They're nice.
Our Hex ones look like our Hex ones look like we're working on a construction site. So
who you got?
Is that Richie?
Yeah, let's say who we got to talk to. Richie?
Yeah, Richie, my guy. No, they're nice uniforms. They're just the bottom are like all like neon, like green, yellowish. It's kind of
the neon thing. You guys do that. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, it's cool. They're nice. They stand out. I mean, obviously wearing black always looks good on me. It looks skinnier, so that's a good thing, right? Right, Marky? You know black looks good on you too. What are you laughing about?
Oh,
I'm just agreeing with you.
Oh yeah.
You say Mark or Donnie? Which one was it?
Oh,
But Donnie from the neck down is lumptious. So
He's got good hair. He's always clean cut.
he is from the neck down. So
And Donnie's always got a smile on him. I feel like I don't ever see Donnie like upset.
no, he's only when Gio yells at him he gets upset. But other than that, he's good. So let me ask you guys my question. It's a question I ask every guest. I know we talked a little bit about commitment, so let's not bring up commitment, but think about something in softball right now that you guys would like to change to the game that improves our game, whether it's something that we currently do now that you want to change or something that, you know what, I want to bring this to 16 in softball to make our game better. What would it be?
mine's if it's not the commitment because we're not covering that. I thought Ray Zarnick knocked it out of the park by giving every single team a case of beer on Friday night. That was freaking cool, and I enjoyed that. Our guys really enjoyed that. So shout out to Ray running that tournament because that was cool. I appreciated that. Our team appreciated that. Just because everyone, they bring their own drinks, but like afterwards, got a case of beer on ice. We could just sit back and relax and talk about the game. That was nice.
And the koozies were nice too.
The koozies were great.
Yeah.
Ray is incredible. He's an incredible guy for softball. I wish I was able to get out there this weekend, but unfortunately, like I said, my wife probably would have killed me. And you guys know I was in a major car accident a couple weeks ago. She would have absolutely killed me if I would have went out there this weekend. I probably wouldn't be married. But I was able to at least still follow. I saw a lot of Ray's videos. I saw a lot of things that went on. So one good thing about social media, right, I was still able to follow the tournament and get through. So thank you, Alan. That's a great point. Julian, what do you got for me?
I know this was the toughest question that I think I had to think about. Gloves, again, like we kind of talked about that. I know all the background with the gloves. We talked about it, but again, I said this already, but the uniqueness with your hands it means a lot to me as a player. Again, like I was a baseball player for a good amount of time. I love playing with my hands. So I think the glove thing. I think maybe some of these tournaments with the open roster and limiting the major players. And I'm always playing devil's advocate, so I know guys want to play, but I think limiting major players helps level the playing field for tournaments, and maybe that can bring out more people to play.
Yeah.
So those are probably the top two answers, I would say.
No, I like it. I don't have anything to say. I think those are great answers. Something different, Marky. We haven't had that one before. Limiting a major player, which is hey, that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Way to pull that one out of the hat, Julian. That's
I'm
impressive.
just tired of seeing Nate Mercado on every team and park I ever see play.
All right.
Hey, Jimmy, what advice do you have for the 38s as we 1As? What's your advice for us?
Hold on 1 second. I have a guy who wants to join the three. There he is.
Hey,
Hey now.
stretched out.
Yeah, that's good. Check it there. We're real close, by the way.
What's up, gentlemen?
So to your question, sorry, Donnie, you totally interrupted their question, by the way.
What the hell,
Donnie? Are you still driving, or did you make it home?
No, we had to pull over due to some pretty dangerous conditions. So we're now we're all set now. So it was a little scary there for a sec, but we're all good. We're all safe. And now I see Mark Robinson, so I feel even better.
Yeah.
Hi, Donnie.
We were just talking about how from the neck down, not so great, but from the neck up, Donnie, you're incredible. So
He already knows. He knows his perfect angles. He's like,
I do this a lot. This is a thing for me.
So, Alan just asked me a question. He wanted our piece of advice, and Donnie, I'll hand it over to you really quick because I know you just jumped on. Alan, I think the biggest piece of advice for the 38s is for next year is to really try to play at least two of the major events, whether that be Forest Park, and really try to commit to come out and play in the major league, right? Because you want to take that next step up in the regular season. That way you're almost guaranteed to make the Forest Park tournament. But if you can make another major event before that Forest Park tournament, I think it would be huge for your guys, huge for the game, because we're promoting more of the younger kids to play. We need a team like you guys to really promote the parks, to promote the major game, and really tie everything together. And that's one of the things I always say to our Southside guys is really you got to want to – that competitiveness is got to want to play the best, right? And that's all I can say to you guys is continuing to do what you do. Obviously, playing the parks, doing a lot of things you do. You stepped up, play the play the 8 Forest Park League. You guys are doing a great job with that. Now, next year, take that next step up. Don't listen to Markey. Get in the major level. And honestly, show your guys' talent off and stay together, right? That's the biggest key. Stay together. Make sure Julian's name's not tossed around 7 other teams next year. Yell at him tremendously throughout the offseason because every major team's going to be calling probably your players. We all know that, right? But keep the guys together and move forward as a unit. That's probably my biggest piece of advice for you guys.
Donnie?
Welcome. What was the question?
You give us your question, man. You just hopped on. We're at the end.
Oh, awesome. I guess to piggyback off what Jimmy was saying, it all depends on what you guys want to do for next year and if Julian wants to play Papa Hops. So that really all it comes down to. So if Julian wants to make a pretty controversial Facebook post or not, go ahead and do it. If not, stick to your guns and lay off social media. But yeah, anything that makes you guys happy makes me happy.
I like the attention. It creates controvery. It's good for the game. Everybody gives their opinion. It's okay.
Yes.
There's no hard feelings for me. I like it.
We do not like dictatorship. Remember that. We want every player to have a voice, every player to have an opinion. That's why we always want everyone to promote our page, because we're literally about the opinion of the player. We're about getting ideas out there. We're about promoting our game of softball to make it better for all of us. And while we're on that topic, right, I know I sent you guys a text message to promote our page and do everything we can to help grow our game. And that's basically by going on Facebook, clicking the 3 dots, clicking, select friends or invite friends, select all, and send those invites out. Those people who are not a part of softball, you better believe they'll watch and they'll learn about softball. It happens every week. Donnie, how many text messages you get a week
Oh
when
man.
we do a show about people that don't even play softball that watch the show? And I
Yeah,
was trying to tell you guys earlier.
Yeah, every week we get guys that what are you doing? Who are you talking to? Who is this guy? Who are these weird people that you talk to in the middle of the week, late at night on Facebook? That's the epitome of it, right? I mean, it's just going out and have fun and being social, right? And
tell the
what's it?
story to them about the guy that walked into your golf shop about the show from Excel. Remember?
Oh,
tell them the story. They'll laugh at that one.
I was having lunch with somebody, and one of their accounts was the Beacon Tap, and he was like, he's like, have you ever heard of the Beacon Tap? And I said, yeah, and we know Tommy Reamer really well, and the guy goes, he sponsors some stupid softball show. I don't know if you know anything about it. And I said, it sounds awful. Why would anyone watch a stupid softball show?
Anything for a sale, baby.
He's like some idiot named Uncle Jimmy and an even bigger idiot named Cousin Donnie. So that's how that went.
Tell me that isn't a great story. And then he goes, I'm Cousin Donnie, right? The guy
Yes.
off the chair.
That is amazing.
But that's what we're talking about, right? Guys that never played softball talking about our show and talking about our game. That's what this is about. And that's that's all we care about. And that's why Rismondo to us, to you guys, is a big thing. So,
yeah.
But this is the part of the show, guys. Alan, I know you've asked us some questions throughout. We hand it over to you and Julian. Is there any questions on top of your mind right now that you haven't asked, or something that you'd like to ask both myself, Donnie, and our special co-host, Mark, who's done an incredible job tonight, by the way, Donnie?
Thank you, Mark, for jumping in for us tonight. We appreciate it.
Big shoes to fill, I tried my best.
I've been rude and interrupted throughout the night, so I appreciate you guys having us and appreciate the questions throughout. I appreciate the conversations. I think they're good for the game.
Okay, that's fine, because I had at least one question I can remember. Mark, the all-tournament team, you run Splash. How the hell did you make all-tournament team? You vote for yourself?
Honestly, no. So this is what happened. We have 3 coaches, and I said, you guys go handle that. I don't want to deal with it. They came back and said, you hit really well this weekend. We picked you because you only get one. And I said, okay, cool. But I was like, I know this is going to look bad because I'm the one who runs the team. And everyone's going to think I picked myself. But I did not. I stayed out of it and let them do it. I think we had a couple guys, Hemer, Brett. Those guys were just as deserving. So
I'm totally kidding, by the way. I know you know, but just
I know. But I do know there's probably people are like, oh, he picked himself. And I was like, no, that's not what happened. So
well, they're announcing teams, and I'm like, Mark picked himself? I think that was. Go ahead, Jimmy. Sorry.
No, I was just going to talk to Alan really quick. Alan, you mentioned you had some questions, but come on, man. I know you got another one. You had some good questions tonight.
No, I was firing them off through. I really appreciate advice. Throughout. I think that we're an outside team looking into this world of softball. We're clearly competitive enough to play there, but we just haven't ingrained ourselves into this community of major softball, just because we haven't seen ourselves in that category before. And so these conversations help, and I appreciate your input and your advice. I think that we learned a lot this weekend about what it takes to win, and I think we're certainly looking forward to the next challenge.
Perfect. So,
Alan, are those 3-inch or 5-inch inseam there you got?
You like these? They're kind of riding out. They're what's Dom's last name? I call
Genovese.
Dom Genovese.
That was a thong.
Yeah, his were real tied up, and so I'm just trying to do my best impression. I call him Dommy Doubles. So
I like that.
He calls himself Donnie Doubles.
So that's the look I'm trying to go for. He's at 38. So just trying to support here.
So guys, before we let you go, we're just going to keep you on because we've had a ton of fun with you guys. Marky and I were going to go over the lines I picked for the first round games, and then just the predictions. So if you guys want to stay on, we can keep you on until we end the show, because this is the last thing that we do on the show. So we can laugh about what I have. But Marky, why don't you go through those? I know you prepped ourselves. Donnie was on the road, so.
Sorry, Jimmy, to cut you off. Can I just and I'll stay as long as you're cool with it. I just want to say a couple quick things, if you don't mind. Number one, I want to thank Alan. He does a great job with the 38s. He's well deserved of this last weekend. I can't stress that enough. He really goes underappreciated with what he's done for the team and all of our guys. So I really want to say that. Shout out to the team. He did a great job. And I want to start the rumor mill as well. Charlie's coming back to the 38s.
Yeah.
So the 45s chat, go ahead and start chatting. I promise he's coming back as soon as he go. He's coming back. Nate and Izzy company. So coming back. We already got his police schedule figured out. Don't worry. And that's it. I want guys, but yeah, we'll stay on. I want to get it going.
Go ahead, Marky. First round games. What do we got? So for
All right,
those people that join, go ahead.
Traffic, you had -2 and a hook. Traffic won 4-2. So not bad.
Pretty good line.
Los Barachos Softball Club versus Trash Pandas. You had Trash Pandas -1 and a hook. Los Barachos won 8-3 and made it all the way to the championship. So
not a good line.
No. Dirty 38s playing Steady Drizzly at -6.5. Dirty 38s won by 10. So it's a pretty good line there.
We got you, Jimmy.
Bankroll and Menace. Originally, you had him as a pick'em. You ended it at a hook. Donnie had it at 1.5. Bankroll beat Menace 16-5. Fat Kids and 40 Deuce. You guys had Fat Kids -7. Fat Kids won 15-5. You also gave a line for Fat Kids Snappers. Fat Kids -6, 15-0, and that was the perfect game by Angelo. The Playmakers and West Side Outlaws. You had Playmakers -2 and a hook. West Side Outlaws won 13-3, and Randy actually picked them in the chat. You guys called that out in your chat last week, and then you had
umpire that game.
That's probably why they won.
And then you had Sauce -4 against what you thought would be Playmakers. Sauce won 11-10 versus West Side Outlaws. Then you had the OBOS versus Born Divine -2 and a hook. OBOS won 9-8. Then you had the -4.5 versus Gravediggers, because Gravediggers was a new team. They actually made a nice little run, and Gravediggers won that game 17-6. So Gravediggers actually came and played. We actually played them. They play hard. They use all 12-inch bats though, so that was kind of
my favorites were like 3 and 5. My boys from the 38s covered though.
Yeah, gotcha. Fat Kids covered their games, and then you had Primetime -2. They lost 10 deep, 11-7, which Randy also picked. And then he did. I saw it in the chat. I had to put it in there. And then Jimmy's final four of the winner's bracket was Primetime versus Fat Kids and Hardway versus Goodwood. And his top four was going to be Hardway, Primetime, 38s, and Fat Kids.
Primetime. They let you down, Jim,
38s
really fast.
would go through the loser's bracket. He said 38s would go through the loser's bracket and make the championship. So he looks kind of like a genius on that. I don't know what made him predict that. And then we get to Donnie's picks, which were Hardwick and Sauce, who unfortunately neither team made it to Sunday. Sauce was close. Sauce literally almost beat us. I think it was 12-11 and 8 innings to end up playing 30-38 Sunday morning, which 38s, yeah, they beat us pretty good, and then they just started rolling. So, yeah, that was that.
Hey, Marky, thanks for letting us get going, kid.
I know we had bases loaded 3 times, just didn't want to get a hit off you, so that was kind of crazy. I think we had bases loaded 3 times and scored 0 runs, which is impressive.
Hey, all I know is me picking the 38s to run the losers bracket and win the championship is like I saw the show.
You did. I was watching that show too. I was like, all right, I like it. And then it literally happened. I was like, damn, Jimmy was right.
Yeah, you also said Fat Kids to come in 4th, and you were right on that as well. So, I mean, you had some pretty spot-on predictions. Some of the lines good. Some of the
2 out of 4 ain't bad, you know?
It's pretty good for a top 4.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, I didn't know who Diesels were. I mean, I've heard of them, but I didn't know they were going to make that type of run.
I mean,
they had a great tournament, man. Pat Moran, again, sorry to take the show, but like Pat Moran did a great job. He's a great dude. They have a great team. They're good friends of ours.
Yeah.
Seeing them do what they did, that was really cool to see. Same thing with Barachos, but Diesels too. I mean,
for sure.
If you look at Barachos run through the winners bracket, they beat both teams that finished tied for 5th. they beat you guys in the winners bracket, and they beat Diesels, who finished third. So
Wow.
Los Barachos definitely beat a lot of teams that ended up finishing in the top 5 to get through the winners bracket. So that was pretty impressive by them. And shout out to Steve-O. I mean, they got a nice little squad there. They're definitely going to be tough to compete with in the A in the next few years. They're looking, if they stay together, that left fielder was pretty good for them for sure.
Absolutely. So, hey guys, I just want to say thank you for taking time out of your day. Tell the families thank you for allowing you guys to come on. It's a huge thing. I know I just got yelled at, but either way, it's an incredible thing. Donnie, thank you for joining. I know that you were battling some bad weather and some things like that, so I'm glad you're safe. Marky, once again, thank you for being fill-in co-host. You did an incredible job giving us the background on the A Nationals and everything that you did as well. So with that being said, guys, I don't think there's any more questions. I just want to say thank you for watching the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show, sponsored by the Beacon Tap. And I know everyone on this screen will be on this screen again, so help continue to promote 16 in softball. So thank you so much. Anything you want to leave us with, Donnie?
No, man. Thank you guys for jumping on the show. Marky, appreciate you filling in. Steve-O in the chat, congrats on such an awesome weekend for your team that you put so much time and effort into that squad and making the coolest gear. So we appreciate everybody for jumping in and chatting with us. And you guys, 38s, congrats on an awesome weekend. And we appreciate you guys very much, man.
Anything you want to leave us with, Julian and Ellen? Anything you guys want to leave us with?
No, I mean, we appreciate everyone who takes the time to grow the game. You guys do an excellent job. And shout out to the SSA who organized the tournament this last weekend. They did a great job.
Yes.
We appreciate everybody who does all the work they do outside of their daily responsibilities and their families to do this, because we're grateful for your commitment, because it allows us to play the game we love to play.
Absolutely. And Marky, last but least, my man.
Thanks for having me. And then I just want to give a shout out to Alan. He won the Cy Young. Julian won MVP and was all tournament team. And congrats to the 38s. They're a very good team. It's fun to play them. They're nothing but respectable when we play them. So just want to give a congrats to them. Uncle Jimmy, Donnie, thanks for having me. It's been a blast. Hopefully in a few weeks we can do this again. It'll be not from Lawler's Bar and asking me why I batted myself second in the playing games. So hopefully this time, third time's a charm in the playing games I'm hoping for. So we'll see.
I
can't.
just want to say thank you again. Thanks for having us. Jimmy, hope you and your family are good from the car crash, man. Hope everything's okay. I know it's a couple weeks ago, but hope everything's good. Mark, you're the man. Love talking to you. It was a good time. I'm glad you got to be on the show. Donnie, thanks for hopping on. I know we talk here and there on the side, but we'll get on the show and we'll get up. So just thanks for having us, guys.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, guys. And once again, thank you for watching the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show. We will see you guys very soon, actually. So we'll see you guys next week. I will post the next time we will air. So thank you so much. Have a nice night, guys. Thank you.